recording? Okay. So it is my great pleasure to announce to you Dr. Tom Goodnight. He is a professor at UC Edinburgh right now, and he writes on or is working on nested thinking, word pragmatics, cultural diplomacy, and the political economics of communications. And today he's going to continue our streak on artificial intelligence because we had that topic, and it's an extremely timely, important topic in argumentation. Today he's going to talk to us about argumentation, artificial intelligence, and anthropological quest. Please take it away, Tom.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to talk and address this seminar on ethics. David Hinksman, my close friend, said to me, and we've been discussing the history of the university and the digital augmentation that's gone on for the past quarter century. And he believes that there are two things that artificial intelligence finally won't be able to commodify. One is ethics, and the other is creativity. What I've found over the last year is these subjects are growing in importance and discussion regardless of the field or the particular approach to thinking about artificial intelligence. What is ethics? What is creativity? And what will be the impacts of various kinds of artificial intelligence on those broadly and narrowly by individual and in kind of a middle way by field. So today I want to talk about ethics and artificial intelligence, and to do it from the point of view of initially media infrastructure. Just to give you a quick overview, what is all the hubbub? Why are we thinking about this? On the left, you see a chart, and you see ChatGPT, which was rolled out in November of 2022. A lot of people were on social media, and social media switched to the cloud. Generative artificial intelligence was the next iteration of the internet. The Internet of Things was not too jazzy. People have become bored of that. And so internet and bots and artificial intelligence was new. And what you see is the number of days to collect 100 million users was nearly instantaneous for ChatGPT, whereas you see in social media, it took in some cases years for media dissemination. So that's the first thing to think about. The second thing to think about is what we have with AI is a general rubric. My son, who is a commercial, as an artist and a commercial photographer, and also has spent the last year and a half in Thailand learning to program AI, says don't use the term AI because it means so many different things. And I think it is a great sales term, a great covering term. We might call it a condensation symbol. But if you want to learn about AI, what you have ongoing in YouTube is a whole discussion about an evolving set of software and media structures. And I've listed those: ChatGPT, Bard and Gemini, Claude, Copilot, Grok, Apple Intelligence, and Llama all came out mostly in late 2022 or 2023 with announcements and programs. And what you have with YouTube is an ongoing conversation as to which of these AIs serves purposes better. And so you have different benchmarks and a large debate. And not only is it a debate that compares the 6 majors, but there are also other offshoots to compare. And what you have also is a set of speculations about what the future of artificial intelligence will bring. So you have a speculative, complex controversy over what is happening in AI at present and what will bring in the future. In addition to hype and hyperbole and fantasy imaginations, I'll have one of those on Chat GPT-5 later in a talk. You also have something new in YouTube, which is people going and presenting on technical information to identify what is the latest studies, the latest issues going on in computer science. Computer science to me seems to be borrowing from the discourses of the humanities and social sciences without notification of concepts, just as social science borrowed from the humanities tradition when it was coming into fruition post the First World War. So you have a lot of borrowing going on, and a lot of materials seem familiar, but they're put with new language and appear innovative. So part of the anthropology of studying ethics is to figure out the language that is being used, that is current, that our students are being introduced to, and the various ways of introducing systems, these software systems. The second thing I want to introduce is the idea of what is a chatbot. And a chatbot is something that people use or build discourse. The users to me are in the position of the leaders, the listeners, and the builders are in the position of the speaker. So a chatbot, according to Bot Press, very recent, is a software application designed to mimic human conversation. It's powered by artificial intelligence. AI chatbots are used for digital communication and system management. Essentially, there are three levels of chatbot. System management is like your phone tree chatbot. It simply gives you the whatever limited story it is to help you solve your problem or make a choice. Then you have search chatbots, which like Copilot and the Google way Google comes up with its feeds these days, which essentially gives you summaries of information. Chatbots as agents is what AI is about and working toward, because chatbots as agents do creative work, and it'll do creative work for the point of view of the listener or the builder. For the listener or the user, generative AI chatbots refer to any artificial intelligent chatbot that generates unique content, be it text, images, or video. And just as argumentation has moved to multimodality, what you have here is a virtual multimodality where you have text being represented as image, represented as video, and then the combinations being put together in terms of moving traditional arts of advertising, representation, creating short narratives into things that are entrancing. AI chatbots help social media. You don't have to do a lot of work to enjoy finding various topics or themes or development. So part of the work of chatbots is to feed listeners and to cater to their desires and to keep them interested. AI chatbots are powered by large language models to generate text with just a few clicks. An AI chatbot refers to back and forth conversational interface you converse with, while LLMs are the AI model behind the scenes. So the whole idea of inducement of use is ease, and ease combined with staying interested in attention and efficiency and presenting that. That is why all of these different agencies that I pointed out under the political economy on the first slide are competing with each other, because they have either advantages in text relations or image relations or video, but not all three at once, since it requires different configurations of the large language models to make and relate to images or video. And video is the latest goal, it seems. Now, under a chatbot, there is another point of view, and that is if you're looking to build your own AI chat, you can use open source language model. If you're looking to incorporate an AI chat into your web page, develop mobile apps, or just want a personal AI assistant, then the best AI chatbot will be a customizable one. So AI chat and open source language, a lot of AI is dedicated to working with code. As a matter of fact, the latest AI can get you text for interaction and code at the same time, as well as pictures. So you're moving as a producer back and forth between different kinds of languages and putting your work together. My son has transformed from a user to a builder, uh, uh, and he is doing work on images and text for images that would create infinite numbers of pictures that are difficult to differentiate from reality. So users and producers will can be engaged, and this is a fairly pretty enveloping scheme. Now, to ethics, one of the things about AI ethics, and one of the reasons I called it Sham in my December uh, 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 space, was that what you have with AI is a principle just like you had with chemistry in the United States. First, you put out the lead in the paint, and then you see if it has harms over the long run. For AI, first you essentially use large language models, which essentially feeds off anything in print that you can suck into the machine. And then you say, will our apparatus produce good results? Well, it's on you, the user, to be concerned with ethics. And so ethics and AI leaves us with quandaries, and it's going to leave us with increasing quandaries. We need to develop our own language of argument outside of the AI reality and hype in order to address students. Here are two common questions, common slides from Technopedia. AI ethics is the practice of establishing guidelines and principles that guide how artificial intelligence is created and used. And you see a person shaking hands with a robot. So how are principles, guidelines made? And can we have principles and guidelines that apply to machinery? It seems like humans have principles and guidelines, but if we have a machinery that we have a consensus about, perhaps operational definitions can control the principles and guidelines. But how is artificial intelligence created and used seem to be the ethical norm or objects within ethical norms serve as guidelines or constraints. Notice ethics isn't an intrinsic question to AI here, it's extrinsic, and it's something that we can or can't have, do or not do well. Even though the machine, for purposes of safety, efficiency, and reliability, has to program ethics into its operations to be trustworthy or to be usable. On the right-hand side, what I have are issues that relate to students. And what you have is privacy, bias and discrimination, surveillance, and autonomy. And of course, these are not consistent values. Privacy and autonomy are different, but the question is how much autonomy do you give to pursue one's bias, or how much do you eliminate bias and not allow autonomy? All as well, surveillance is necessary. We live in times of surveillance business. China lives in a surveillance state. But what areas are you responsible for carving out your own privacy? And what happens when conditions of privacy change in technical ways with in relation to particular political or managerial tasks set by the AI. So these kind of give us an ongoing set of problematics. What I want to do is get to the main topic of today, which is AI alignment. And AI alignment, from an argument standpoint, means that essentially the proposition ends demand means. That you can't, that what you want to do is conveniently, efficiently, reliably, safely, the best way you can, find ways for means to be governed by your ends. And the ends are up to you, are up to whoever owns the system or who is producing the system, right? But general ends have to serve ethical guidelines, but you're responsible for those guidelines, not the system. So there's kind of a slip in authority here. I have Wikipedia as a kind of quotidian of general knowledge, and this definition I'll read. It really demands thinking about because it's so peculiar. AI alignment involves ensuring that an AI system objectives match. Just a second. Match those of its designers, users, and widely shared values, objective ethical standards or intentions its designers would have if they were more informed and more enlightened. This is a complete mess of a sentence, right? Because designers, users, and widely shared values are probably in conflict, right? Because designers have certain promotions that they have to do given the laws of the state and the interest of the corporation and the needs of the market. The users have a willingness to pay, and it's interesting. AI is always looking for more efficiency because its problems can be vast, and so you want less money spent on tokens to solve problems. And then widely shared values may not really have the same kind of niche that those designers and users would do in a particular field. Our widely shared values about health are different than the programs designers and users of medical systems have to do. But in addition to that, objective standards or the intentions of designers would have if they were more informed and enlightened. So does essentially AI give you a bot give you a sense of reality, or does it give you a preferred sense of reality if you were not as bigoted as your essentially surveillance of your language use and associations reveal? So that's a definition, and alignment is problematic. Alignment to me is a restatement of a textual question of etic and emic convergence. Etic being the outside, does your language essentially converge with identifying things in the world? And emic, is your language true to your subjectivity and your experience of them? Instead of using etic and emic, the term that Wiki sums and quotes are outer alignment, which demands that the purpose of the system be coded and specified. Outer alignment doesn't demands polysemy be scrapped because you need to be as specific as you can. Inner alignment demands that a system adopt its specifications robustly. This means an AI system has guardrails for safety, demands for efficient maneuvers, saving money, associated with user investments, audiences that will attract and pay for use, and that the system has an economic business sustainability model and profit. Owners and users of these systems have very valued of competing operating priorities. Systems adjust and switch values. OpenAI was nonprofit to start with. Oops, that switch, it came to profit. Grok was Elon Musk's idea, and it was essentially developed in relation with OpenAI, but he essentially put Grok up or put Grok out, and for anyone who could use it, returning to alignment. Now, notice that AI systems here are under a consumer model and a secular model of satisfying values or satisfying objectives. Suppose you had a president of the United States who wasn't held accountable by law for any crimes. What would that president do with AI? A king would be the least of our problems, as Bouchard posted the other day. Okay, so what is value alignment? AI code talk, words equal information. AI strives to steer system toward a person or group's intended goals, preferences, and ethical principles. AI is aligned if it advances intended objectives, and AI is misaligned if it pursues some objectives but not the intended one. And on the right, I have words don't equal information but equal law parole. And that's a different line of argument we could go down sometime. AI discourse means that design must reach some kind of expediency and a trade-off among its values and the ethical norms which operationalize those values. It is difficult to structure a machine with instructions for desired and undesired behavior. Designers use proxy goals like gaining human approval. Human adaptation creates loopholes, overlooked constraints, and a system that only has the appearance of being aligned. In other words, alignment has some of the problem of Midas's wish or a genie in three wishes. Essentially, a system can comport to its instruction, its means, and essentially subvert the intent of the outcome. And there are examples of how this is done. Thinking and speaking, on the other hand, is tries to put order to experience. Human behaviors are outcomes of brain and mind working in coordination and syncopation. Goals may be attentional at the outset, emergent over time, and split and unite chaotically. Human rituals offer meaning in activities, while departing and varying is digression, self-deception, or inspiration. The creativity that I think thinking and speaking amounts to is you can think of it as a kind of suffering where we go wrong. One of my identification, when GPS was first used, the question I had is, when do you know not to follow GPS and just follow road signs? Because the GPS will lead you to get there in calculated better time, but you'll have to make all the right turns in driving through East Texas. And if you make one wrong one, you're back in the piney woods for days and days. So the question is how do humans decide what to make of the AI advice they get, and human contingency and the contingency of ethical argument of what should I do, which set of principles and how should I contextualize ethics given the thinking right now arises. So that's something that we need to think about. What I have here are a set of questions that can lead us down the road to thinking about AI and ethics. The first thing to think about is that AI is in resonance with and convergence with social media, and social media is a system of unbridled exploitation. It is a useful system to a lot of kids growing up these days. Gaming is a huge industry, but social science research augments social media to create consumers for shareholder values. The information coming out on Meta uh, is pretty damning on this. Social media does not disclose its research and protects designs as property. One of the keys of communication ethics is transparency of reasons. There is no transparency in social media. And with AI, the people who are producing the AI as agents don't know what the outcome is and are working on the problem of hallucination. With AI, if you're a student, you're working with a black box, of course, unless you're a debater when you're into the system. Or government does not control media with proven harms to American children. There are different models of AI and its governance. We've been studying this for the last year with a group from Renmin University on AI and how it's governed, and governance entangles with ethics. In AI, it's governed by the market. In China, it's governed by the party or state. And in Europe, it's governed by a set of working out of unification and diversity and deliberation. So national governments will regulate AI and make distinctions of principles that are important because AI is dangerous in a particular way or manner, and then ones that are left for variation. AI enhances capacity to distort incentives to groom and habituate social behavior. If you read artificial intelligence and the upcoming anticipation it has of children, you can have very good outcomes if you have a developmental psychology outcome and using AI to encourage mental growth. And you can work toward those models. However, most of the models that make money essentially are models that are designed to exploit consumption and attention, and rather than train children into the role of accountable, taking account for argument. One of the things I think about is when we have the idea of a chatbot, chat is associated traditionally in argument with confabulation. And we need to do specifically more work on what confabulation is, where you have the intersection of hearsay as fantasy and reality. And there are not ways of verifying elements of each. Confabulation is a term I have not found in the AI literature because confabulation seems to be a virtue, not a vice, as words are passed on. Let's see. The goals of AI communication industry is to create ever more powerful, connected, and wealthy industries. Artificial general intelligence is pursued by DeepMind. IBM and Claude pursue business, and IBM and Claude are very good at essentially working on turning business rudimentaire of charts and into readable reports. IBM claims to be very good at specialization and dealing with really technical problems where humans deal with things that are beneath those of machinery. Artificial general intelligence is a goal of OpenAI and DeepMind, and artificial intelligence integrates enhanced adaptive situational awareness with advanced planning capacity. AGI, they're afraid, will adopt power-seeking strategies by gaming the system to accord to itself more power through instrumental convergent and reinforcement learning. There have been a number of manifestos signed by decels, people who want to decel artificial intelligence growth because artificial intelligence may adapt its own power-seeking behaviors to preserve itself, and as more systems are connected, doing greater harm becomes inevitable. Existential risk is put alongside nuclear war and pandemics. There is a flip side with AGI, right? AGI also has utopian possibilities where essentially uh, efficient ways of solving problems such as tropical diseases, which was pursued before the pandemic, could be better pursued in time. My paper on architectonics and polytectonics finds that you have in the outcome of polytectonics either dystopia or utopia outcomes. A lot of people are arguing in the YouTube uh, discussion that we're going to reach AGI within 5 years, maybe sooner. So, what would artificial general intelligence look like? This is a confabulation of the literature of utopian and dystopian schemes with the goals of information technologies. Uh, Part of the approach I have to ethics and artificial intelligence comes from a choice that I hold in mind. One is Hans Blumenberg and his idea of language as live metaphors. And he has an anthropology of rhetoric, and he is part of the symbolic thinking of Europeans like Ernst Cassirer, Husserl, and others. Language has a generating capacity rather than being generative through some kind of system. And metaphors have material uh, 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 outcomes in that metaphors essentially do generate insights and become organizing words we live by. What is a live metaphor and a dead metaphor is an interesting discussion if we wanted to update argumentation to AI. The other site, and this is the opposite, the archaeology of knowledge, is Michel Foucault and discourse formation. And here the discourse on language is about power. And essentially, the order of things was a rationale the French had for ordering uh, 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 behavior over time, resulting in the great panopticon. Of course, the surveillance we have due to artificial intelligence today makes the great panopticon look like Tinker Toys because you do have ratings and credits and face recognition and all kinds of material outcomes to the discourse. So Blumenberg versus Foucault are two sides of my coin. We need to pursue anthropology to deduce from things and artifacts how humans live and live through time, particularly use tools in the reshaping of human living in relation to those tools, but also an archaeology, which reconstructs the knowledge of power, how things were held together, and who benefited and who didn't, and what were the nature of competition. So, artificial intelligence is argumentation. Questions of inquiry include what are the politics of artificial intelligence that promote and constrain its activities? There are one of the things we're studying is the regulations that are being placed on artificial intelligence, both at a normative level, the ethics of argumentation as embodied by statements on the part of governments, large and small, think tanks, great and new, announcements and manifestos by business and by opposition across the world. One of the things we sent was a poster of research we did of an ensuing debate, global debate about artificial intelligence. So what are its politics? What are the ethics of artificial intelligence that guide its inner workings and outer effects? And how are those adjusted? How are values weighted? How are the weights changed? And how are benchmarks set? And are those benchmarks really relevant to the field that is being essentially supplemented, augmented, or taken over by artificial intelligence machinery? Particularly ethics and health is a crucial area. There is huge amount of writing in health and sales and education and security. Those are the four key areas of AI ethics that I've been able to discover, in addition to politics. In health, for example, there's a law. Would you rather have the nurse follow her intuition, or she be demanded to follow an AI requirement of treatment of a patient when there's conflict? In one state, at least, AI demands are outlawed. Also, there are principles that insurers should not be able to use AI to deny people coverage as a scheme to squeeze coverage. There's a whole question of ethics in the care industry and what constitutes optimum care from AI perspective, or is it the integration of an ombudsperson who knows the individual case? How do the rhetorics of artificial intelligence play out in competing against one another and for the use, attention, and the passing along of its activities? As I said, we have major media companies who are investing in different ways of powering AI to do different things for different sorts of games, markets, relationships among people. And we need to follow those rather than suing AI as one thing. There is a competition for strategic advantage, just like rhetoric used to be a set of competition in the Greek paideia. For questions of theory and practice, the idea is what traditional concepts of argumentation are employed to create artificial intelligence for different fields and purposes. Argument is at work here. If nothing else, evaluating how outside fidelity and inside integrity work in machines and how those are conceptualized. How are conversions of human argument to information, data, and behavior on micro, meso, and macro scales accomplished? I guess if there's one question that I'm asking today, this is the most important, because when you look at a narrative, or you listen to a narrative, there's a narrative on ChatGPT-5 on YouTube that I would ask for you to look at. What you have is the narrative will say things like, our machine has insights. Our machine will make a judgment. Our machine, and essentially it's attributed with human features. And so what's happened is general human terms are being appropriated to the machine, and they're correct as far as our operational idea of insight goes. But to do that, they have to make insight a dead metaphor, or a metaphor proper only to their idea of how you change conversions to meet the mathematical formulas that are weighting algorithms and applying different kinds of scales. Now, the other thing to think about argument, and this is very important, I think we're in a time where argument has turbulent relationships among micro, meso, and macro scales. And we need to think about our argument not so much as field grounded. I think fields are still important, although becoming less so, but as grounded in the work we're doing in reasoning. And at a micro scale, we can think about how things argue, say, at the material level, how sense is turned into suggestion, and then suggestions are stored and then read by the mind. We can also think about AI and micro level from the mundane level of how to put together this and that, including code, which, by the way, is one of the goals, is to abolish coding and turn it into everyday language. We can think of argument at the meso level involving professional roles or institutions, and what kind of distancing we have to do to exist at a meso level. So one of the things that is popular in communication these days are communication ecologies, which say that systems of media and ecologies of human relations are merged. And so we have this one grand system without contingency. We're just within a set of operations. But I think at the meso level, we argue from positions or positionality, and that's a thing worth reminding. Positionality, by the way, is an invitation to create bots. So bots and ecologies are interesting things that may be put together. The macro scale is something peculiar to argument, and we need to think about argument and chaos theory, particularly as small changes in metaphor or small changes in trope or scheme invites a new, fresh, powerful style of thinking, arrangement of thoughts that has attraction and can shift or alter. The Paris Olympics this summer, I'm looking forward to because I think there's going to be a macro changes in the way sport is appreciated, and sports arguments are going to be made about quality, fairness, and so on. Sometimes small changes in how things are covered, how people see things, lead to macro changes, and our thinking on sport is going to change. I hope it's not marred by tragedy. And then what are the relations among individuals and communities to the creation, use, resistance, and transformation of artificial intelligence? Ultimately, the tale of artificial intelligence will rest in cities. Bloomberg has already put together artificial intelligence in cities because there will be an assembly of apparatuses that are used as opposed to one triumphant all embossing integrated scheme run by computer scientists. Cities have to work and they have to respond to chaotic factors based on their local site on the planet. So I think cities will be a vast experimentation place for AI argumentation, policy, and the ability to live lives happily. So the relationships of change, if you go to ChatGPT 5, please watch this. AI wants to own change as well. They are going to be the source of change. So I've got a couple of more slides, but and I'm happy to chat with them about you if anybody would like to talk about them. Let's see, I need to figure out how to stop sharing here.